everyone, my name is Clay. It's been a while, hasn't it? Welcome to Terminally Nerdy. I am your host as always, and today I've got a review for you of a PC game from way back when. I think like 2006, around that time is when it came out. Same year that Skyrim came out. A game created from a studio that was founded by a baseball player named Curt Schilling. 38 Studios over in Rhode Island, a game that has kind of an infamous history, and that's Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning today. If you couldn't tell by the title screen, or the title card, or the fact that I've been playing it and posting the live stream archives here on YouTube, you know, I haven't made a secret of this. Before anyone says anything, yes, I'm aware that THQ Nordic has purchased the rights to it about a month ago now, at the time of this recording. They actually purchased it after I'd already started doing the live streams, so I am prophetic. So Kingdoms of Amalur is an action RPG set in a world created with the help of R.A. Salvatore, the famous fantasy writer who wrote the Drizzt Do'Urden books in the Forgotten Realms for Dungeons & Dragons and the Cleric Quintet and all these other things. It is very much inspired by like Gaelic mythology, lots of Irish, lots of Celtic stuff, Fae and Fairgortas and brownies and all this kind of thing. But the question you gotta ask yourself is, does it hold up now? It's been almost 10 years since it was released, a little longer than that I think actually. And does it hold up to today's standards? Well, let's go ahead and dive right in, starting as always with the video presentation or the visuals, and we'll see if Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is still worth playing today. Alright everybody, we're going to start by talking about the visual style of Kingdoms of Amalur. Now, as you can see from the footage in front of you, Kingdoms of Amalur uses a very cartoony, animated style of visuals. I personally rather enjoy it. The world feels very vibrant and has its own style to it. Animations are pretty decent. Facial animations are a little off sometimes and can especially look really weird in conversation cutscenes. Attack animations are very well done as well. There's real weight to some of the spells that you do, as well as some of the non-spell attacks. You can really feel a lot of the explosive power behind some of these hits. I do like the character customization as well early in the game. You have a good selection of hair, good selection of face paints, good selection to make your character your own, and the armor and weapons also look really, really good. If it weren't for some issues that I have with two-handed weapons, which we'll get into in gameplay, I would actually probably use the two-handed swords because they just look awesome. Overall, I'm very happy with the way the visual style is represented in this game. I have no issues with it. There's a decent day-to-night cycle. There's a lot of environmental variety. You start off in a very big forest. You end up in some plains. There's a desert sort of mesa area, there's some swamps, there's some weird crystalline stuff. The caves and dungeons also have some decent architecture as well, although they're very linear at times. And while the world is massive and each zone is really big, they can feel sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? They can feel sort of empty at times. The game was designed almost as an MMO test, and because of that, there's not a lot of stuff out there. Like, you could feel that normally there'd be other people running around, but because it's a single-player RPG, there aren't. So at times, the environments can feel very empty. And while they're very large and very wow, you know, you don't have anyone to share it with. But again, overall, I do think it's a solid-looking game. But what about the audio quality? Now, while the visual style is very representative of the game and unique to it, the audio style and the music and the sound effects are very standard. I would not go out of my way looking for the soundtrack to this game. I would not listen to it out of game, and in fact, beyond the iconic theme at the very beginning of the game and the combat music, I cannot recall a single song in this game. It is all extremely background. I mean, you never notice it after a while, and in fact, if you want to jam out to something while playing this game, I'd almost suggest using your own music. The game's music is atmospheric at times. It really does a good job of setting a mood, but you never really notice it. And quite frankly, there's only one combat theme, and it gets really old really fast. The sound effects, while solid, are, again, standard. You get your whooshes, your shatter noises, your electrocution noises, and they all sound very, very basic. There is a weight to the noise, though, especially, for example, when you cast Meteor and it slams into the ground. You hear that impact, and it feels good, and it looks good. But, it kind of leaves something lacking. There's nothing really that stands out other than, for example, Meteor. Voice acting is actually pretty solid, but they seem to have a limited selection of voice actors. A lot of the male NPCs sound pretty identical at times. The particular NPCs that you actually have to deal with for the story, they all have fairly unique voice actors. Fomorous, Hughes, Agarth, Aelin all sound unique, and they all have a very specific tone to each of them. Although Aelin makes me want to hurt somebody because she's so smarmy, and she just irritates me. Overall, I think the best part of the game, sound design-wise, is the voice acting. It is pretty damn good. The rest of it, I could take it or leave it. I could actually probably just turn the music off if I ever play it again and just put on some rock music and feel perfectly fine. Or better yet, put on something like Dragon Age Inquisition or something, which actually has a soundtrack that I listen to out of the game. But around everything, we have a core of a story, and how does that hold up? Alright, normally I try to avoid spoilers. Unfortunately, however, because of how I feel about the story of this game, and more specifically the ending to this game, I am going to have to talk some spoilers. So, here's the spoiler-free bit. In the description box of this video, I will have a skip to get straight to the gameplay section. So if you don't want to hear the spoilers, I will again warn you when they're coming. But overall, the story of this game is not that great. The main story has a really terrible ending and has an exposition dump in the last 30 minutes that explains everything, and it's ridiculous. And the ending is anticlimactic beyond belief. The best parts of the story are actually the faction missions, which is kind of sad. Alright, now we're going to get into spoilers. So, again, if you don't want to hear the ending of this game spoiled, or the plot of this game spoiled, description box, click the time link. So the game opens up, and you're dead. You start the game as a dead person. Character creation is them going over an autopsy report, which is actually really creative. I actually really like the opening of this game. You wake up in a pile of dead bodies, confused as all hell with no memory of how you got there. You are playing a silent protagonist, which I don't like. Your character has no voice, and people react to you saying things, but you could insert all sorts of things and their reactions would not make a lick of sense. Now, you work your way through a lab, which you later find out is called Alistar. You find the guy who brought you back to life using a machine referred to as the Well of Souls. The Tuatha, a branch of evil fae that you are encountering for the first time in your memory, are destroying the Well of Souls. You are the only successful experiment as well. Fomorous Hughes, the gnome who built this machine and brought you back, encourages you to escape and find a guy named Agarth who should be able to help you find your way in the world and figure out what the Tuatha are up to. And from there, you go out into the giant world of Amalur, and you are left to do what you want. Now, obviously, you go and you talk to Agarth. Agarth is what they call a fate weaver, and his specialty is reading the cards and understanding the weave of fate, because in Amalur, fate is pre-written for everybody who is mortal. If you are a fae of any sort, summer or winter, you're basically just going to keep repeating your life. It's kind of freaky. But if you're a mortal, you have a set path, and fate weavers can tell you that path, including how you die. Agarth is one of the last fate weavers left in the world because nobody likes people who can tell you how you're going to die. And Agarth, unfortunately, knows exactly how he's going to die. The main storyline's probably only about 15 hours long, and if you blitz through it, you get a sense of the world, but a lot of it is unexplained. Now, you would think the side quests found everywhere would explain what's going on, but they really don't. They explain specifically what's happening in that particular region of the world, and there's actually no closure. For example, one of the major storylines in the very first zone that you're in, and I say zone because this game is built like an MMO with distinct zones that are connected with distinct openings. So, like, you can clearly say, oh, there's only one way in or out of this zone if I want to go to this other zone. There's just defined borders, is what I'm saying. So, for example, in the first zone, a big thing that's going on are these bandits. And you get eventually told to go kill the leaders of the bandits, because that'll disperse the bandits. So you go and you kill the leaders of these bandits, and the bandits will be there from that point forward. They will still be there. They will still run and attack you. It's really dumb. Pretty much all side quests work that way. There are some areas where side quests do feel like you made a difference. There's an area called the Webwood where there's actually choices. Like, you can pick and choose who lives and dies at a particular moment. And when that happens, it's really cool. It just never happens in the main storyline. The main storyline is going to follow a specific path, and you have to do everything on that path to get to the end. And that path is trying to deal with these Fae who keep trying to kill you. Now, up until the very end of the game, the antagonist that you're dealing with is a guy named Gadflow. He's this crazed Winter Fae who created his own faction, killed pretty much all the old Winter Fae, and is trying to take over the world. Because of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? Nobody knows why, nobody knows what's going on. You have no idea what's going on, and you have no idea why he wants to kill you, and he never tells you. In fact, you don't run into him, you don't really start talking to him until a good chunk of the way through, probably about halfway through the main story. You destroy a machine that's spying on you, he pops up, gloats at you, and vanishes. He doesn't explain a thing. So obviously, they want you to kill him, and people want you to kill him because, as you determine as you're going through the storyline, that you are unfated. You don't have a fate. Nobody can tell your future. You are literally free to change and manipulate the world at your whim. In fact, this is told to you by Agarth when you save him from his appointed death. He takes you somewhere where he knows, according to fate, he's going to die. And he doesn't, because you stop it. And that's when he realizes that as long as you're around, you can do whatever the hell you want, and it will completely alter fate's course. It'll rip the wagon right off the rails, as they say. So, they want you to go kill Gadflow, because you probably are the only person who can get rid of Gadflow. So everyone starts encouraging you to help with this war and this war effort and to take down Gadflow, and you, of course, are just going to go take down Gadflow, because the motherfucker's trying to kill you. Might as well try to kill him. There are hints at points that another companion of yours named Aylin knows something. She hints that she used to work with you before you died. People mention that she knew you, and then eventually start finding out there's other people that you worked with before you died, but nobody really knows what the hell's going on. You go and find the scientist that you worked with, and he claims that you were helping with his research on the Well of Souls against Formorous Hughes. So you're just like, okay, well, I guess I died trying to help this guy get Prismere crystals, because that's what he tells you. You were trying to get these crystals that power the well, and you died. Boo-hoo. So you eventually run into Gadflow, and you fight Gadflow in probably one of the most disappointing boss fights I've ever had in a game. If you go back and watch my playthrough of it, when I fight Gadflow, which turns out to be an illusion, whoop-de-doo, I basically get him against a wall and juggle him. So that's another thing. All the boss fights in this game are absolutely stupid. There's no challenge to them. The AI is retarded. Not retarded. Take that back. The AI is just dumb. Ignore that. It's just Anyway, you kill Gadflow's illusions, and you start to work your way down. Now at this point, I'm thinking probably about 30 to an hour left of gameplay in the main story, and I'm about right. And this is where Aylin proceeds to do the exposition dump. She explains everything. Everything. Turns out, Gadflow is not the villain. No, it's Gadflow's god, Tirnock, who is very rarely mentioned up until this point, but nobody really knows who Tirnock is, nobody understands who Tirnock is. It's just a god. Gadflow found a god. he's worshipping some new god. Well, turns out Tirnoch is actually some sort of ancient being that was trapped between worlds and went crazy and now wants to destroy the world. And you and Aelin were part of a secret organization that nobody knows about that was going to take down Tirnoch and keep Tirnoch trapped. And when you died, you went to make sure Tirnoch stayed trapped, even knowing that you would die in the attempt because the cards of fate said you would die if you did this. So you went and did it. And Aelin assumed you were dead, and then you woke back up with no memory. And throughout all this, Aelin proceeds to also tell you repeatedly, if you tell anybody about any of this, I'm going to kill you. This is poor writing because Aelin is trying to help you fight, and while this is happening, by the way, you are fighting large groups of enemies. There's no cutscene. She's not explaining any of this in a very clear manner, in a cutscene style conversation where you can focus on it. She's telling you this while you're working your way through groups of enemies, killing them with a lot of noise. So if you're not paying attention to what she's saying, you will completely miss it. And the thing is she's trying to kill one guy, and I'm over here killing 12, and I have to come help her kill the one that she's trying to kill after I killed the 12 that I've already started with. And she's threatening to kill me. The woman who can't kill one Tuatha, and I'm dropping rocks from the sky to murder things, is threatening to kill me. Repeatedly. So eventually she tells you, you're the only one who can stop Tirnoch, and da-da-da-da, and then you go and you fight Tirnoch. And at first I'm thinking, okay, well, Gadflow's in there. I'm going to fight Gadflow first for real, and then I'm going to fight Tirnoch, which I find out is a dragon, by the way. Because of course it's a dragon. It's not a god, it's just a dragon. And I go, and I meet Gadflow, and Gadflow gets killed by Tirnoch. So I don't even get to kill Gadflow. The antagonist that I've actually felt a modicum of a connection to throughout this entire game, I don't get to kill him. The dragon does, and then I fight the dragon. In a boss fight that is poorly explained, and I have to sit there just flailing at. The dragon can't hurt me, it can't kill me. You go back and watch the fight, and I'm just kind of running around trying to go, like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? It can't hurt me. I'm too ridiculously strong with my weapons and gear. It's not hurtable. And then I figure out, I'm supposed to fate shift, which we'll explain in gameplay. I'm supposed to fate shift and then activate a quick time event and then damage it and then knock it down, then hit it a bunch of times and then jump to another platform and repeat. It's ridiculous. And the worst part is when you kill it, it's not even a fade to... You kill it, you get fade to black, and then it's like 6 months later and you are listening to a letter being read to you by Aelin, where she tells you again not to tell anybody or she will have to come kill you. Driving that home that you are not to speak of anything, because Aelin will kill you. And then you wake up in the bedroom. And the game continues. Turns out there's an epilogue after that nobody else saw. I found out when I was recording footage for this. Agarth basically thanks you for your efforts, and tells you that there was a parade and they were worried about you waking up and you were given a house. And that's it. That's it. After that, you're left to go run around the world, completing side quests and things like that. But that's it. That's the story. And it's ridiculous. And I hate it. And I felt after finishing it that I wasted 30 hours of my life playing this game to basically amount to nothing. Because when I go out in the world, the Tuatha are still running around. Nobody reacts to the fact that I stopped anything. The instant I stepped out of that house, it was like I had never done anything ever. Everyone was acting just like, oh god, the Tuatha are still here, and oh god, they're still attacking, and I might as well have done nothing. It was terrible, and it was horrible. But the story of a game is not the only thing people play games for. I'm one of those that really focuses on the story. So how does the gameplay hold up? Alright everyone, welcome to the gameplay portion of today's show. And we're going to be starting here in Goreheart. So Goreheart is one of, if not the... What the fuck? Well, that's different. That's new. Goreheart's one of the first cities you come across. You actually start here, an Alistair Tower. You work your way around past the Stone Candle Mines, and you end up here in Goreheart. Now, as you can see, the world map is freaking massive. It really is. There's a lot of stuff. These icons are dungeons. This is a dungeon. These are sort of like faction locations for the most part. This one's also a faction location. These are transitions, usually into cities. So this goes into like a specific city kind of like location. So does this one, so does this one, and so does this one. Technically, this is a city up here. This is a DLC area. This is a DLC area. If you notice, I haven't touched Teeth of Naros, and not gonna really talk about Teeth of Naros too much in the story section. So, you can fast travel by clicking on any of these if you've discovered them. If you haven't, like I have not gone to Vricky, I must reach it on foot before I can fast travel. Same thing with like Proving Halls over here. You can't fast travel to the DLC area either. I have to take a ship from Rathir here. But otherwise, like if I want to go to any one of these places, I can just click on them and it'll ask me. Pretty cool. So, basic gameplay WASD moves. There is no jump button. Space is a dodge. My dodge is very specific to my setup. Different setups get different dodges, which we'll discuss in a minute. Up in the upper left corner, you'll see health. The light blue bar is your mana, and I have reserved mana from my ability. That's what's making the bubble here. That's what that little gray bit that's kind of squishing the mana bar down. And then that purple meter is your fate meter, and mine is full. You get fate from basically attacking enemies, doing combos. Once it's full, you can activate what's called Fate Shift. Now, this game has a very simple system for examples. Your inventory is slot-based, not weight-based. You start off with, I want to say it was 70, and you can find backpack upgrades in towns on merchants. So I found a couple, and I'm at 100 slots. Your weapons, you have a primary weapon and a secondary weapon. As you can see, it'll show you which ones are equipped. So and each weapon does have a different look. So this is a long sword called Torment. Flame Blade looks different. Weapons have durability. Yes, weapon durability is a thing. You have your total damage per second number right here, or defensive value. You have your stats, level requirement. Some weapons and some armor require specific things. So you can't use these rings, which only have 9 durability right now, unless you're level 11, and I'm level 30. Armor is hands. There's a chest and a legs if you're not using robes. Robes take up both spots. Shield, which I never use. Your total armor value is right here. Stats again. See, now this kind of goes into the class system, which we'll explain next. But there's might, finesse, and sorcery. You have to have a certain number of points in one of those trees or multiple trees to equip an item. So my robes need 28 sorcery, and they give me things like mana regen, gold drops, total health, health regen, elemental resistance, physical resistance, etc. You have accessories, which are your which are your necks and rings. You can wear 2 rings, 1 neck. This one does 8% chance to steal health. This is 10% health, 10% mana. This one's 5 and 5 resist. You can also get stuff like this, which are kind of like quest items. Don't believe they take up spots. Consumables, of course, and there's a lot of different consumables. You got purification potions, which I advise you get, because poison or a disease actually is really annoying. You have, health pots, which I just stockpile. Fate potion, which will instantly give you a full fate meter. Mana potions, damage boosts. Then you got items, which are just generic stuff. These are your crafting bags. Gems that you find or craft end up in here. Repair kits, which I can use to repair my gear, like that. Quest items end up in here, like these things. This whistle, this bog. All these bundles are for a DLC. Stuff like that. And then you got, by the way, that icon right there means I stole it. You have to have a fence if you want to sell stolen goods. These are all your books. Books, let me find one that actually reads. Unreadable. Here, this one. You got books, just like any other open world RPG anymore. You got a book, and then you got notes. And then you got junk. And junk is where you put stuff that you just want to sell easily. So like I have all these little things here in the junk pile. You got your quest log. You have main, faction, side. Tasks are sort of repeatable stuff. Like I could literally just repeat gathering flames over and over. There is a bug, apparently, that if you get too many quests in your quest log, it will bug out. So you don't want too many of these. Like, I'm probably pushing it. The main quests are for the DLC or the main story. Alls I've got left, because I've completed the main story and I completed one of the 2 DLCs, alls I've got left is Teeth of Naros. These are all different faction quests. So if you look over here, this is the faction it's associated with. So I have 2, or 3 actually, for Gravehall. This is a DLC one. As a note, Beast Training, Scouting, they're repeatable. So this will never actually leave. Gravehall Gallery, this is a building quest, which I'm not going to get into. This is the Warsworn, I want to say? Yeah, that's Warsworn. That is the Travelers. Warsworn's like your Fighters Guild. Travelers is like your Thieves Guild. The Sorrows, House of Sorrows is unique, and I've never done it, and I'm probably not going to. Your side missions are, you're basically your side quests. So, Out of the Ruins, you probably saw some of me picking them up and running around doing them in the footage. Specifically Bad Blood and Out to the Ruins. Those are the ones I grabbed. So, you have an ability tree. Now, this is class advancement, okay? So, this game is classless. Rather, you have 3 trees which represent the 3 standard class types. Might is your warrior's tree. Finesse is your rogues and archer tree. Sorcery, where you can see I've put all my points, is your mage tree. Each tree has a couple of different things. So you have a weapon combo setup, because each tree is associated with specific weapons. For example, Might, you got long swords, great swords, and hammers. That's what they're associated with. Sorcery, you have chakrams, staffs, and scepters. And then Finesse is daggers, feyblades, and bows. So depending on what kind of weapon you want to use will kind of dictate what tree. Pro tip, if you're going to use big weapons, which are the great sword and the hammer, you have to get a specific skill. And where is it? Right here, I believe? No, it's right here. No, that's not it. Where is it? Skillful defense? No, one of these. Relentless Assault. That's the one. Okay. You have to get Relentless Assaults. And the reason is in combat you can get stunned. And Relentless Assault basically stops that. And because of how slow great swords and great swords and hammers are, you need this. Otherwise, you're going to get stunned out of your swings. Finesse, you've got your assassination. This is how you basically do, sneak attacks. You got traps, stuff like that. Not going to go too deep into all these trees. Basically, you can also tell active versus passives. Active skills have a circle, just like your hotbar down here. So that's an active, that's an active, that's an active. Passives are squares. So if you have something in a square, like for example Hardy Constitution, which literally just increases my health and elemental resistance, you put points in it, that's permanent. You need 5 points in a line to unlock the next line, plus a certain level. So, for example, in Sorcery, I have to be of a specific character level to have unlocked the highest stuff up here, based on my points. These things took like 70 sorcery points in the tree total to unlock these. Another thing is you only need 1 point to unlock something down the road. So for example here, I had 1 point in Skillful Defense, because I never block, just to get Hardy Constitution, because this right here is the only way, other than gear, to permanently increase your health. The other points I put in Longsword Mastery, because I like longswords, so there you go. There's Longsword Mastery, Greatsword Mastery, and Hammer Mastery, for example. So, I am a sorcerer, so all my points are spells. Pretty simplistic there. Destinies are your classes. So when you level up, you will get a specific combination of things. And I kind of wish I had enough XP to level up, but I don't. What I'll do real quick, actually, is I'll go visit a Fate Binder, which will let me reset my character. Allow me to show you this, because there is a way to respec. So, another tip, you will never be locked into something once you find a Fate Binder. The first Fate Binder you can find is right here at the House of Ballads. For those of you who want to get one real quick, Goreheart, come up through here, right to here. In fact, if you do a couple missions in Goreheart, they will send you to the House of Ballads. You don't need to join the House of Ballads, it's a faction, to get access to the Fate Binder, which is in this room somewhere. The Fate Binders have a specific icon, and that icon is right there. Looks like a pair of cards. That's a trainer, by the way. The little, looks like a sword on the minimap up there, that is a trainer that will train your skill. Oh god, the camera. Fate Weaver. So, basically, I've already respec'd once. Respecking cost goes up. I have tons of money, so yes, I'm going to respec. See, went up cost. Next time I want to respec it doubled. Obviously, I am now naked because I have no destiny, so I can't wear any of my gear. Here's how leveling up works. First, you got skills. These are passive abilities. So, for example, if you want to be blacksmithing, you need to max out blacksmithing. If you notice, I have some points in some of these. These are racial. There are 4 races. Race does matter. My race starts with 2 points in blacksmithing. You can also buy points. In fact, let's do that, really. Yeah, I want to reset mine, because I want to show you this. So this lady is a trainer of some sort. I'm not even sure what. What she got? Persuasion. So for 15k, as long as I'm within 0 to 3, she'll train me. So, train. That'll give me a permanent +1 to my persuasion. I think I can do it a couple more times, actually. Yeah, see? Current skill 2. Once I'm above 3... Oh, she won't let me do it. Okay, so you can't train more than once. I've never used them, so... But now, as you see, my persuasion's higher. So, you get 1 skill point per level. This is how many levels I am. I'm 30, so I have 30 points. Max that out. Max that out. Max that out. By the way, these two, you want these two maxed. If you notice, there's also Basic, Advanced, and Master. These are level locked, so until you hit a certain level, which I forget what it is now, you won't get access to Advanced, so you'll be stuck down here. And then once you unlock Advanced, another specific level, you'll unlock Master. If you see, I have 4 points left. Mercantile doesn't really do anything, but I'll take Mercantile. There you go. It just makes you more money. So, as I said, you have to have 70 sorcery points, for example, right? So, I would be like 6 points here. I know I want might, so I want boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Now, I only do that so I can get that. Sphere of Protection, Conservative Casting. I've maxed you out, can't get to you. I'm a Chakram user, so maxed out Chakrams. 1, 1. I definitely use Skelebro. Let's see, yeah, that. Smolder is maxed. Sphere of Reprisal is maxed. 1 point in that. Maxed out Ice Barrage. So this is what you do. You get 3 attribute points, I like to call these, per level. So you actually get quite a bit of these. So don't be afraid of them. You know, using them up. I always put 1 point so I can just have the combos. See, I'm trying to get up here and I need 5 more points. So, like, what do I do? Because certain skills are skills that I am not a fan of. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I can get Meteor. Winner's Embrace. See, I've only got 2 points left. 2 points in Sphere of Retaliation. There you go. And then you get these. These are destinies. So these are your classes. And they are based on how many points you have in a specific tree. And you unlock more and more as you go. So, for example, I'm always using Sorcerer. And each one gives you more. So, like, for Sorcery, you start with Acolyte, which is this. And then you go to Initiate. And then your Dodge gets replaced with a Blink. Then it gets replaced with an ice blink, and you're in. You know, see how the improvements. Now, if you look, here are all the might ones. These are warrior. Here are all the rogue ones, or thief ones, if you want to go that route. Stuff like that. Then, and there's actually one more sorcery, which I don't have, which is 109 points, and I get Archmage, which this is stupid, so. But then if you look, there's multi-classing. So if you have Finesse and Sorcery, you get these. Right? If you do Might Sorcery, you basically become a Paladin. Pretty cool, right? If you do Might Finesse, you become like a Duelist. And then if you do Equal, you can actually do Equal. The +1 to skills are those blacksmithing and stuff. If you're smart, you can get Universalist. If you get full enough, this unlocks all those weapon combo combinations. All your equipment's reduced, +3 skills, +12 to total damage resistance, etc. Of course, my character is a sorcerer, so I confirm I'm leveled. Yay! The moves show you what moves you've unlocked, the combos, show you how to do the combos. So chakrams can do things like that over there, where you like spin them, or you can like hop back, or you can dodge and then do the spinning thing you guys saw me doing. See, like Might gets Quake, which is that. It's actually pretty cool. Shadow Flare, which is like huck and daggers. And all my sorcery abilities are down here. Alright, so, and then this is health, mana, etc. Now obviously I want to equip my abilities, which it already did, and it did it wrong because I never used Mark of Flame. I put that one down there. Ice Barrage right there, Elemental Fury, Meteor, and then, there we go. And I'm going to hit 0. Now, to use your abilities, this is kind of annoying. First of all, it's a hotbar, 1 through 0. But pushing the button doesn't actually do it. Yeah, it assigns it to your right click. You see, left click is your attack button for your basic attack. And left click, or right click, is your spell. You guys saw me doing the combat earlier, so you kind of got an idea of how it works. It's very clicky. Like, you know, you basically spam clicks. Like, I can go, let's see, spin, stuff like that. I did show you guys a taste of crafting earlier. There is crafting in the game. Let's go show you that real quick. So crafting, you got to find the correct crafting bench. For example, in Goreheart, the blacksmithing bench is right here, which is my preferred thing. You can salvage items. So salvaging breaks an item and gives you, unfortunately, a random selection of things from it. For example, I just salvaged that, and that's what I got. I salvaged this. Now look, there's 2 ash longbows. I got those 2, right? I just got that one this time. See the problem? I salvaged this, I get that and that. It's entirely random what you actually get. Oh yeah, also your gear does actually make you look different, so... You can also name it, by the way. These are named after people who watched me stream the game. Jovar, Firebird, Sav, Squirrel. So, once you have your components, so you come into crafting, you got different armor types, which all require a base, and then you have trims and things, weapons. Like, let's make some Feyblades, I don't know. So this is the base damage, and this is your damage after all of your effects. So, like, if I go do chakrams, my preferred weapon, the Sylvanite Flame Disc is 94 here, it's 125 right there. But as you can see, the Frost Discs... So, like, I do that, and then I get all this stuff, and all this stuff does different things. So, like, you can kind of tell with the icons here what they do. Like, this is lightning, both overtime and damage. But if you look, greater charge and basic charge are very different. So, I don't know, let's put a charge handle. Let's give it a 17% more health while it's equipped. Let's, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of effects, see? So do some fire damage, and 14... No, wait. I wanted to do 14% more mana. And there you have something new. What's funny is that's now actually better than this. Probably because of the fire damage down here. Because this does fire damage. Most likely. Also, I use fire damage, yeah. And we'll call this... See, I can name it. The Review Rings. There you go. That's how crafting works. You need to get used to crafting. The best gear in this game is going to be from crafting. Unfortunately, like everything in this game, it's RNG heavy, because you don't know what you're going to get every time you break an item down. And that's the thing about this game. A lot of it is RNG related. It is an action RPG, almost loot driven in that way, like a Diablo. So, let's see. So, you know, we got the fast travel. We got all that. You guys have seen the footage. I mean, it's not a terrible game. And play-wise, like I said, there's no jumping. So, you know, dodging with spacebar. There is no camera changing. This is your camera, right here. Mouse-controlled camera, pretty straightforward. Let me find some guy. So see, by the way, he's extremely low. You can tell an enemy's difficulty by the color of the name over their head. So, for example, these idiots are gray. They are literally pointless for me to fight, but they are a perfect example of the final thing I want to show you. Fate shifting. So this is the game's awesome button. So what you do is you fate shift when you have a full fate meter. Fate shifting increases your damage potential ridiculously high. And then, when you've done enough damage, you can press F. And you get a sweet kill animation, which is different. Then you spam a button, and you get bonus XP for everything that was fate shifted. They all die at once. That was worth 41 XP. Hooray. Shut up. Shut up. And doing combos, and like I said, and things, and fighting actually increases your fate. Fate shifting's animations are dependent partially on what weapon you're equipped with, but they pull from all sorts of things. So, that is the gameplay, really, of Kingdoms of Amalur. It's very MMO-ish. You're going to be spending a lot of time doing side quests, wandering around a very large, as you can see, very open world that doesn't have a lot of things in it. You know, you keep an eye out for stuff like this. This is how you get herbs for your alchemy, if you want to do alchemy. Making potions is handy. Bears. Also, if you notice, projectiles don't track. So, I can actually shoot my ice completely over a bear's head, because that makes sense. You know, I can't angle my shots, so be aware of that. You can sneak. I'm in sneak form now. I need daggers, actually, to do sneak attacks, though, so... sorcerers do get to summon. Quite frankly, Skelebro is an idiot who decided to go attack Ping. So let's go watch him. Look at Skelebro go. Look at him. He's trying. He's trying so hard. Look at him go. Good job, Skelebro. You maybe did one thing. Oh, by the way. So these are shrines. You can get buffs. You get a buff bar over there, but that doesn't tell you what it is. You want to know what it is, you got to come to status. Got to go to effects. There's what Death's Touch is. Okay. This is also where you can find out what diseases and curses are doing to you. This is where you can find all your skills. Twists of Fate are basically boosts when you do a major thing. So like when you finish a particular storyline or a particular faction quest, you get a Twist of Fate. So like I got Master of Gravehall, I got the Unwritten one, you know, Iconoclast, which really doesn't help me because I don't use Feyblades. Those are permanent bonuses. Lore Stones are also things that can give you permanent bonuses. These are basically story stones that you find out in the world. Be aware, that one's bugged. The last stone is completely unfindable. Even with the tracking skill that I have that shows me where it is, I can be standing on that spot and it will not be there. meaning I can never get 6% more damage with Fey Blades. Thankfully, Mire was fine. These all give, different bonuses. So like the Webwood, when I completed it, got me 6%. And you can actually click on it and click Examine Lore, and it shows you, different parts. You can actually play the audio from them. So like I click Examine Lore, and I go, oh, look. And you get all the little lore bits. There's actually quite a bit of it. All the achievements I've unlocked, including, I've only got 21 of them, which is kind of surprising. Oh, hey, I wooed Rast. That's right. And your stats. I've killed a lot of enemies and dealt a metric ton of damage. Best fate shift was 7. I've killed 20 chickens. I hate wards. Alright, and then you got maps, options, save, etc. So, that is the gameplay for Kingdoms of Amalur. It's not the hardest game in the world, to be perfectly frank. It's surprisingly easy at times, especially once you get Meteor, which you guys would have seen me using in the thing. It's this. This, by the way, as a sorcerer, means nothing is stopping you. At the point you get Meteor, and the point you get Elemental Fury, there's really nothing that's going to stop you as a sorcerer. I'm basically unstoppable at this point, and I frankly don't understand how any of the other classes function by doing anything other than this. Really, I don't. So, alright, well, let's go ahead and get into my final thoughts for the game, and we'll talk about, what's left there is to say, and whether I think you should play it or not. See you in a moment. Alright, so there you go. We went over visuals, audio, story, and of course gameplay. And I gotta say, after 30 hours of that game, I honestly feel I wasted my time. Caveat: the gameplay itself, the functional gameplay itself, is perfectly fine. And if I'd been playing an action RPG MMO with other people with me, it'd have been great. We'd have explored the world together and done all the cool quests and things, but at the core, this is clearly a test game for an MMO that never happened, and that is actually true. They actually were going to create an MMO called Copernicus in that world. This was a test to see how they could do that, and as you clearly see, they came up with a subpar action RPG. Not the worst game I've ever played by far. Not the best. It's average. It's mediocre at best. I do think it's worth about $10 for the Game of the Year edition, which is what you can get it on Origin and Steam. So if you're curious about it, if you want to experience this, it's dirt cheap to play. And for those patient gamers out there who want a cheap game with a ton of shit to do, this is the game for you. Just be aware that it is a single-player MMO in design, and it feels that way. And if you have poor RNG like I do, you can frequently get screwed. I mean, those chakrams I was using throughout the game weren't even the best kind of chakrams I could get. I eventually found some randomly in the last zone that were extremely good, but I needed to break them so I could use them as a crafting base, and I never actually got the chakram base, so I could never make my own good weapons. I'd been using those same chakrams roughly for 5 hours. I hadn't even bothered upgrading. So that's a problem. When you don't really have any reason to upgrade, and I didn't have a reason to upgrade. I didn't need the damage. I didn't need the defenses to upgrade my gear. I was doing it because it was something to do. With THQ holding the rights now, they have said that they won't be able to remaster this original without EA's permission, because EA still owns Reckoning as a publisher. So either we're going to get a sequel or we're going to get something in that world, and I am curious about that, because my favorite part of the game was everything outside of the main storyline. The main storyline was trash. And I'm saying that with my nostalgia goggles off, because I played this at release and I loved it, and I always had these fond memories of it, but playing it now, playing it after I've played vastly superior games to it, it doesn't hold up. Like I said, if you're looking for a good time waster, go for it. It's cheap, it'll fill time, and it's a lot of fun right up until you're ridiculously overpowered, and that's like, well, why am I even bothering? Enemies don't scale or anything, so there's no constant sense of challenge. You know, once you get to a point, it's like, I'm just gonna raffle stomp everything. That's what I was doing. You can go back and watch my playthrough, and you can see, once I got Meteor, it was over. There was nothing that stood in my way. It was a joke. I was just like, okay, start with Meteor, do Elemental Fury. If anything's left standing, attack a couple times, cast my Ice Spell. Problem solved. Most fights were over in seconds, and if they weren't, it was because I got stun locked, which is still annoying. Really hate that. Alright, so, like I said, $10 on Steam, $10 on Origin. It's worth about that, especially since you get both DLCs. Pardon me. Still getting over a cold while I'm recording this. I'm right at the tail end. So now, as for what's coming next, so on my blog, I'm going to have a written review, probably in a month or so, of Rune Factory 4 from my 2DS XL. This little dude right here. I've got Rune Factory on here, but that's going to be written because I don't have a capture card. But as far as my next streamed RPG/review, well, we're going to do something that I've been meaning to do. I kind of started doing it about a year ago, year and a half. You can kind of go see my archives on here. It was Mass Effect 2. I'm actually going to play through all 3 Mass Effect games, start to finish, with all the DLC included, using one character. I'm going to be playing a Femshep. She's going to be an Adept. I'm going to romance Garrus in games 2 and 3. No romance in games 1. I'm going to be playing Paragon. And we're going to see how the 3 games hold up. Because, quite frankly, I've been gaming since the days of the Atari. The 2600 and the 5200. And Mass Effect, the original trilogy, is my all-time favorite game series, bar none. I have such fond memories of it, even if I don't have fond memories of the first game, because the Mako, we're going to give it a shot. Now, I'm not going to use any mods. We're going to play them straight out the gate, the way they come out. So, Mass Effect 1's going to look aged, probably, because it's kind of an aged game, but that is the next thing coming up. So, the idea is I'm going to play 1, I'll review 1, but I'm not going to wait until 1 is reviewed to start 2. I'm basically going to go 1, 2, 3, and review them as I can, and post the reviews in order here, along with the full gameplays. If you want to watch that, you can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/terminallynerdy, link in the box below. And I'm probably going to start that probably first weekend of November. My wife's schedule is changing for the next 13 weeks starting in November. She's going to have Saturdays off, which means I'm only going to be doing stuff on Sundays, so it's going to restrict my time a great deal. So it'll probably take me a little while to get through Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Because I still need time to do these video recordings. I've got Patreon one-shots I'm going to try to do every couple of months again. And my Pugmire streams. So, there you go. Alright, well that's it everyone. If you like what I'm doing, feel free to hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow me on Twitch for all those updates. Follow me on Twitter. All the links for every one of these things is at the description box below the video. Down there. Down. Look down. You can support me on Patreon, buy me a Ko-fi. Coffee? I guess it's coffee. It's K-O-F-I. And all that. Leave a comment telling me how you feel about Kingdoms of Amalur. And have you played it recently? Because I'm guaranteeing you, if you still love it, it's probably nostalgia. Because that's what it was for me. Right up until the ending. Fuck that game. And as always, thanks for watching, and remember, stay nerdy!